started?
Hello, everyone. We're going to start the meeting in just a minute, so if you will get settled, that would be great. We are going to start in just a minute, so everybody get settled. Awesome. How's everybody doing? If you will have a seat, we are going to start our meeting. I'm so glad to see everybody here. Our fearless leader, Kat, cannot be here today, so I am running this meeting. Please be kind. Oh, I'm so nervous. Okay, first I'd like to thank all of the volunteers and members of ROADwomen. Everybody, please give yourselves a round of applause. You got out of the house, you are engaged, you are helping ROADwomen. Thank you so much. If you are not a member, we need you. Please. Tanya is in the back. Please raise your hand, Tanya. This lovely lady in the red ROADwomen shirt right there. If you are not a member, please see her. Please become a member. We cannot help wonderful candidates win in November if we don't have you as our member. So, there's that. Hello. So, welcome. We are going to start with our fantastic sponsor who provided the lovely food that we see in the back. But before we do that, our fantastic, wonderful board member, Tanya, is going to make a quick couple of announcements. Hang on just a second.
Come on, Tanya.
Yay!
For $55, you get a Girl Scout cookie and a membership. Just keep that in mind.
Right on.
So, really quick. We are, oh, see, that was me. We are going to be sending an email. We're working with the party to do phone banking for the next 2 weeks, and we're going to be meeting on Mondays. I don't have all of the information in front of me, but look for it in your email. If you want more information, I do have it on my phone and on our Facebook. So we will be setting up, and if you are wanting to host a phone bank or you want to canvass to get out the vote, please let me know, and I will make sure that I organize with you and help you and support you. But we are looking for a few volunteers. If you guys are willing to do that, we welcome that. But we're going to be phone banking every week, every Monday, okay? Other than that, please become members. And remember, $55 gets you a box of cookies.
Woo! Right on.
We also would like to promote a wonderful ROADwoman, Sheila Jackson Lee, our Congresswoman. We are having a fundraiser for her this coming Sunday, February 23rd at 5 o'clock at Hughes Manor. You all know where it is. We've all been there a million times. Yes. So please join us for that. It'll be a Women for Sheila Jackson Lee event. And now, before we introduce our candidates, we are going to introduce our wonderful sponsor for the evening, the lady that provided all the fantastic refreshments. Please welcome candidate for, well, I'll let her tell you. Miss Audia Jones.
Audia.
Right, well, good evening, road women and men. My name is Audia Jones. I am running for Harris County District Attorney. I'm running because we need to lead a progressive change. When we talk about being the third largest county and the first most diverse county in the United States, what does that look like? We deserve to be on the leading end of change. We need to support cash bail reform. When we look at that, we're looking at our jail population. Right now, 77% of our Harris County jail is filled with non-violent offenders. Non-violent offenders. Most people who are in there because they're typically addicted to drugs, suffering from mental health issues, or just because they're too poor to afford to get out. Not a flight risk and not a danger to our community. So when we talk about public safety and focusing on public safety, what does that look like? Well, we cannot continue to try and incarcerate our way out of drug addiction. We have people that continue to recidivate, that are drug addicted, go to jail for 10, 15 days, get out, lots of times get higher than they were before, get incarcerated, and it's a cycle that continues over and over and over again. When we look at mental health treatment, we pay, and when I say our tax dollars spend approximately $130 million a year in Harris County. $130 million a year that we spend in Harris County, running the largest mental health facility in the state of Texas, which is our Harris County Jail. Our jailers are not trained to provide mental health treatment. Our jail is not equipped to handle mental health treatment. So when we say, what does change look like? Change looks like other parts of the country that are focusing on the root issues, the core issues that are keeping people cycling in and out of jail. And again, we're talking about these non-violent offenders. When we have a 40% murder solve rate right here in Harris County, but we continue to prosecute people for possession of marijuana. When we have a hemp bill under HB 1325, essentially that's saying marijuana with 0.3% or less percentage of THC or less is legal. Who are we keeping safe? Who are we keeping safe? We look at a case where we have a young lady who had 2 officers stick their fingers in her vagina looking for a piece of marijuana. Sharnisha Corley, a piece of marijuana. Now that case settled civilly, but that young woman's mentality will never be the same. Those 2 officers were being prosecuted under the prior DA. Under the current district attorney, those cases were brought back in front of grand jury and dismissed. And that's in front of our current district attorney. So when we talk about on the leading end of change, we deserve to be on the front end of change. We deserve to fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. And if you feel like you are not connected to our criminal justice system, you absolutely are. If you are a tax-paying member of Harris County, you are absolutely connected to this system. So it's time for us to do something different. We need to create a transparent system. We need to create a system that focuses resources to our victims. Because oftentimes, victims who go untreated from a traumatic situation oftentimes become the traumatizers or the victimizers. So we don't just deserve victims, we deserve survivors here in Harris County. We deserve a transparent system where you can go right to the site and understand what are the racial biases. What are the number of violent offenders that we do have incarcerated, and what are the number of non-violent offenders that we have incarcerated? So again, it's time for a change. We have to do something different, and we're not getting that under our current administration. So again, my name is Audia Jones, and I am running for Harris County District Attorney. Thank you all.
Thank you all so much. I appreciate you so much. Okay, guys. So if we have any candidates or representatives in the room, please line up over here. I see most of you already know the drill. So we are going to give everybody 30 seconds. And I'm going to remind everybody of my late amazing mother's rule. 30 seconds, make sure you say your name 3 times. That's the rule.
Hi, I'm Krista Castañeda, and I am running for the Texas Railroad Commission, a statewide race that has nothing to do with trains, has everything to do with oil and gas. Thank Thank you. I have over 30 years of experience in and around the industry. I know this industry. I know we can do better. This is the most important environmental race in the country in 2020 because oil and gas is the biggest impact on our environment, and nothing's bigger than here in Texas. Krista Castañeda, picture Christ with a Y on a train. That's how you're going to remember my name. Krista Castañeda for Railroad. Thank you.
Good evening, y'all. Oh, come on, do better than that. Good evening, y'all. How many of you believe healthcare is a human right? How many of you think every student deserves to be safe at school? How many of you think there's too much money in politics? Me too. My name's Elisa Cardinal. I'm a Navy veteran, a physics teacher, and a single mom. I used to hunt submarines in the Persian Gulf, and now I'm after Dan Crenshaw's seat. So once again, my name is Elisa Cardinal. I'm running for U.S. Congress in Congressional District 2, Cardinal for Congress.
And one thing, candidates, we're live streaming, so
Live
this is the
streaming.
device to...
Okay, this is where you're supposed to stand in. Live stream, my 30 seconds now starts. Vince Ryan, your Harris County attorney, an original road lawyer. Been coming to these meetings, and they're great meetings, but I need your help. Vince Ryan for Harris County attorney. Vince Ryan for Harris County attorney. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Cheryl Elliott Thornton, running for judge for the 164th Civil District Court. I am, again, Cheryl Elliott Thornton, also a senior assistant county attorney, been out here for over 30 years. But I do want to remind you on how to remember my name: character, excellent experience, you can trust. Cheryl Elliott Thornton. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Seema. No? I thought I could get away with that. I'm Sudie, I'm her double. Here to represent Seema. She's running against Dan Crenshaw in Texas District 2. She's a mom, a cancer survivor, an attorney, and an immigrant. She and her family fled to this country as refugees to seek a better life. We are asking for your support to defeat Dan Crenshaw. Please vote for Seema for Texas.
Good evening. I'm not a candidate. I'm here on behalf of my niece, Judge Gisela Triana. Today she cannot be here because she is campaigning in the Valley. Now, she has been a judge from all levels, from municipal court to court of appeals, 21 years of experience. I'm asking you to please consider voting for her. Look her up at judgetriana.com. Remember, Judge Gisela Triana. Gisela Triana, my niece. Thank you.
All right. Hi, I'm Deborah Kerner, and I want to get your vote for the State Board of Education District 6. I'm a speech language pathologist. I help all the teachers in the school and the children with speech language and learning needs. I'm the only one in this race who's previously been elected. Countywide, I won in November, and I know how to get things passed on a bipartisan board. Deborah Kerner, State Board of Education District 6.
I'm Kim Ogg. I'm your Harris County District Attorney. I spell reform, marijuana reform, mental health reform, bail reform. So many things are improved. It is a work in progress. Violent offenders do remain in our Harris County Jail by the thousands. Our mentally ill are being diverted, and marijuana hasn't been prosecuted since March of 2017 on a big basis. On the schools, and now as of June, not at all. So we're reforming our justice system. I need your help to continue. Kim Ogg, Harris County DA.
Hi, I'm here on behalf of Lanny Bowes. Lanny is a Democrat running to be your next state representative. Lanny has lived in House District 134 for over 17 years, received both his undergrad and MBA from Rice University, and has the perspective and background of a former teacher, principal, and small business owner to rival Sarah Davis and fight for the issues that matter most to the residents of HD 134. Once again, I'd love to have your support for Lanny Bowes. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Anan Briones. I'm here on behalf of my wife, Judge Leslie Briones. My wife is, thank you. My wife's incredible, brilliant, Harvard undergrad, Yale Law, former school teacher. Now she's a current judge. She became the highest rated judge of all Harris County Civil Court at Law judges. Her name is really low on the ballot. I went today, so please encourage your friends and family to go all the way down the ballot. Thank you.
Good evening. I am not Michelle Palmer, but I am here to represent her. She's running for State Board of Education. She was Chronicle endorsed. She's running to fix the curriculum that has been abused by the Republicans on the State Board of Education. So please vote for Michelle Palmer, State Board of Education, Position 6, Michelle Palmer. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ann Johnson, running to be your state rep in 134. I am your former chief human trafficking prosecutor, ready to take up the fight for public education, climate change, common sense gun reform, and Medicaid expansion in the Texas House. I am proud to be endorsed by Mayor Anise Parker, Councilwoman Ellen Cohen, and Abby Kamen, and this week, the Houston Chronicle, who said Ann Johnson is the candidate who can beat Sarah Davis. This is the start of taking 9 seats. I need your help. We are voting already. Ann Johnson, come help us.
Good evening, ROADwomen. My name is Carvana Clown, and I'm running to be your next Harris County District Attorney. I am a 15-year lawyer with 7 years of experience as an assistant DA and 8 years as a defense attorney. I have a plan to bring justice, safety, and solutions to Harris County and bring real leadership to the District Attorney's office and true reform that includes bail reform and not prosecuting marijuana cases and spending those resources. We still have over 240 pending marijuana charges. I am Carvana Cloud, and I want to make sure we bring reform and leadership to the DA's office. Thank you.
Good evening, ROADwomen. I'm here on behalf of Candace White. She's running for the 339th District Judge in Harris County. She has a degree from Texas A&M. She has a degree from the University of Texas, and she has another degree from the University of Houston. So she has everyone covered, right? She has a lot of experience. She's been an attorney for a very long time. She's also in child welfare, and she's concerned about our community, concerned about integrity. Candace White for judge, Candace White for judge, Candace White for judge.
Hi, I'm Catherine McNeil. I'm here representing Grant Harvey, who's sorry he can't be here, but he's actually doing a pro bono case for your county, your county attorney, an environmental case. He's a 30-year lawyer, and he's been endorsed by the Houston Chronicle, Texas Coalition of Black Democrats, the caucus, and numerous others that I will pass out to you all. But once again, Grant Harvey for 164th, and I'm sorry he couldn't be here himself.
Last one. I'm Shannon Martin. I'm here on behalf of Commissioner Rodney Ellis. You're a commissioner for Harris County Precinct 1. Commissioner couldn't be here tonight. We have a town hall for some constituents on flood recovery, so he's sorry he couldn't be with you. Close enough? So Commissioner has been a lifelong public servant, fighting for a fair justice system, for equitable flood recovery, among other things, and I hope we can count on your vote. Thank you.
How about that? I think it's a pretty great problem to have so many amazingly talented candidates and their staff, all talented, amazing people. So, everybody, today is the first day of early voting for our primary. Voting is important. Vote every election. Period. Full stop. Now, what we do when we vote is elect amazing, fantastic elected officials like our featured guest tonight, the fantastic Diane Troutman.
Thank you so much, Road Women. So proud to be a Road Women as well.
Right on.
So I just want to thank you for inviting me to speak tonight about the state of elections in Harris County. My first year went by in a blur, and my staff and I were literally working every day at light speed to correct and improve all aspects of Harris County election infrastructure. We woke up every day determined and focused on increasing the number of polling locations, improving election staff training, and enhancing outreach efforts to ensure that every citizen has access, full access, to the voting process. Access to the voting process is the single most important issue as it relates to elections. To the detriment of our citizens, for too long, this issue has been cynically disregarded. Today, I am pleased to report to you that your right to access the voting process is stronger than it has ever been in Harris County.
Right on.
1 year into my tenure, I feel it is a good time to review some of our achievements as well as our challenges. We are proud to have successfully implemented a countywide polling place program, which allows voters to cast a ballot at any election day location.
Right on.
This is an option that is offered to all counties and that, quite frankly, has been around for quite some time with the Texas Election Code, but unfortunately had not been used in Harris County until now. To employ it, a county has to meet specific technological parameters, hold public hearings, and submit an application to the Secretary of State. The process was long, but ensured that community voices were heard. Still, with the unanimous support of Harris County Commissioner Court, we were able to successfully apply to be included in the program. And less than 100 days after we began the undertaking, we successfully conducted our first election using countywide polling places. Soon thereafter, the Secretary of State granted successful status to our accomplishment. Successful status means that Harris County can continue to utilize countywide polling places in future elections, along with 68 other counties in Texas who will be using countywide polling this November. In the last presidential election in Harris County, 66% of the 1.3 million voters who cast a ballot did so at an early voting location. Knowing the popularity of early voting, the decision to add early voting sites was clear. We opened 6 new early voting locations, increasing the number from 46 to 52, including at the Texas Southern University, our historically black university, and the University of Houston, our local Tier 1 university. And that's not all. Understanding that most of our hardworking families have to be at work by 8 a.m. and don't get off work until after 4:30 p.m., we expanded the voting hours during the first week of early voting to a more accommodating 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. schedule, extending the available voting hours during the first week of early voting by 41%. As the chief election official, I believe that the voting experience should be efficient and friendly. With that in mind, we have taken important steps to improve training for the thousands of committed individuals who staff our early voting and election day locations. Training for election judges and election clerks now include a more comprehensive review of the Americans with Disabilities Act. This was in response to a 5-year-old lawsuit with the Department of Justice that I inherited from my previous administration, which I decided to settle my first month in office to ensure that voters with disabilities have access to the voting process too. We also added, very important, We also added a sexual harassment policy. For the benefit of our election clerks, these trainings are now available for review in manuals and videos posted on our election website. Our county is diverse, and I'm proud to say that we are seeing an increasingly diverse field of election clerks as well. Another way we've worked to strengthen diversity is to expand our student poll worker program. The program provides high school and college students the opportunity to work in different capacities on election day. To be able to participate, the students must go through rigorous training. I can tell you that I was thrilled to have the chance to meet and speak with some of these students. I can also tell you that they have expressed great enthusiasm about being able to see and experience the election process up close. We have found that there are many civic-minded young people who are ready and willing to serve as election clerks. For that reason, we must and we will continue to engage them. It is not an exaggeration to say that the future of our democratic form of government depends on how successful we are in our effort to incorporate young people into the election process. We are also working to engage voters like never before. Thanks to a substantial grant from the Houston Endowment, we launched a brand new voter outreach campaign. The campaign, developed by the Black Sheep Agency in conjunction with my voter outreach department, focuses on messaging and providing helpful tools to facilitate the voting experience. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that campaign. From the message, "Vote Your Way," to the color scheme, the campaign uniquely conveys that you now have a choice in regards to where to cast a ballot in an eye-catching design and color scheme that I feel appeals to a wide range of voters. One of the Vote Your Way components that I'm most excited about is our wait time feature on our website that tells you how long the lines are and where the shortest waits are at any voting location. And just last week, we unveiled another way to vote your way, our new multilingual virtual poll worker system, or MVP program. With this innovative technology, interpreters can communicate with the voter and poll worker in real time via video chat to make the process easier and more accessible. MVP assistance is available in 29 different languages, as well as American Sign Language. We will be implementing a trial of the system at all 52 of our early voting locations starting today, so look out for that. I'm also happy to report that we have begun the process to purchase new election equipment. We started back in August by putting together an advisory committee to get feedback from community stakeholders about new voting equipment. Then we held a community vendor fair featuring some of the voting machine vendors that are currently certified in the state of Texas. And at the end of 2019, we received approval from Commissioners Court to start the RFP process where vendors will present their bids. This process will most likely take through the summer. We hope to make a selection by early fall. Because of the size and scope of this process, there is not enough time to adequately test the new voting machines in the field, train election workers, and educate voters on how to use the new equipment prior to the upcoming presidential election. So May 2021 is the target date for employing the new voting machines. We are dedicated to being judicious and measured in the manner we introduce new voting machines to make certain it is a successful launch. As I mentioned, 2019 was a very busy year. We had 5 elections and many challenges that we were able to overcome. In 2020, we have already had 1 election in January, and we will have 1 or more per month through the month of May. And the year will culminate with what the media, government officials, and election officials often refer to as the mother of all elections, the November 3rd presidential election. My team and I have done much this year to prepare for the challenges such a major undertaking poses. Here are some of the most common issues that we expect and how we plan to address them. Lines at the polls. During early voting and election day, traffic at the polls will be addressed by an increased number of early voting sites, expanding the hours of early voting, the employment of 700 plus countywide polling places on election day, and the voter wait time feature at each poll. The measures that we have implemented and tested in our first year should help alleviate most congestion at the polls. The challenge is to get voters to fully use these components to their advantage. In the 2019 December runoff election, voters swamped the multi-service center on West Gray, which serves as a voting location during early voting and election day as well. Even when voters were informed that they could vote without waiting at a poll a few blocks away, they preferred to wait in line at the most popular voting location in the county. We need your help. Let your friends and neighbors know they can avoid long lines by taking advantage of the 700 plus voting locations available and use our online wait time feature. This is an excerpt from a most wanted poster on the FBI website. On July 13th, 2018, a federal grand jury sitting in the District of Columbia returned an indictment against 12 Russian military intelligence officers for their alleged roles in interfering with the 2016 United States elections. In 2020, all election administrators need to be aware of the challenges these kinds of malicious, premeditated misinformation campaigns pose to the election process. Regrettably, we need to be aware that the threat to the integrity of our elections is not necessarily posed exclusively by foreign actors. The tactics that were used by the Russians in 2016 are now being used domestically. Unscrupulous candidates and political groups are creating fake websites to disseminate misinformation. Some promote false political endorsements regarding their candidacy, and others are giving false information about their opponents. Historically, a common voter suppression tactic has been initiating efforts to confuse voters. So we should all be vigilant and take steps to make sure we don't help circulate misinformation. Before clicking like or share on social media posts from accounts that may have a familiar logo or website or a photo, make sure that account or website is legitimate. We need to understand the challenge because foreign and domestic entities understand the impact they had in 2016, and they will most assuredly attempt to replicate those efforts in 2020. To prepare to address these kinds of issues in the upcoming presidential election, our personnel have received cybersecurity training, and our election processes and information technology systems have been audited. We have also installed additional security equipment to protect our IT system, and we have developed an emergency disaster plan for elections concentrating on weather-related problems, power outages, and sabotage incidents. In our planning for this presidential election year, we are continually anticipating challenges and addressing public concerns to ensure our election infrastructure remains secure. And we will be ready for November 3rd. As we work to improve our elections, we need to look forward towards the 2021 legislative session and explore new voting possibilities and ways to protect constructive voting laws. I'm sure you know with each passing year, more and more candidates are running in our elections, which is a good thing. In the 2004 primary, 91 candidates sought the Democratic Party nomination to a public office. In the 2016 Democratic primary, that number increased to 169. And in 2018, it increased to 309. More candidates means more runoff elections, and unfortunately, lawsuits over contested elections, which can be a very costly process for jurisdictions and taxpayers. There is a possible solution. It is called ranked choice voting. It is a method to conduct elections that is already being used in several states and cities. It simply means that voters get to rank candidates by first, second, and third choice when there are multiple candidates running in a position, for a position. It provides what some call an instant runoff. Obviously, this method of voting would require legislative approval, and I, for one, would support it. Texas law currently does not allow it. Another legislative item that I support is mobile voting. This voting method would allow the election office to set up a voting station for a short time at different locations during the early voting period. For instance, staying a couple of days at different college campuses, nursing homes, or medical centers. For a political jurisdiction with a land area as large as Harris County, mobile voting should be an option to consider. So the main reason that I wanted to be chief election official of the county was to make the voting process simpler and more convenient, and to stop turning away thousands of voters who showed up at the wrong location. Thanks to our countywide polling place program, there is no longer a wrong voting location for any Harris County voter, or a reason to systematically disenfranchise voters by turning them away. I hope you agree with me when I say that what we have all achieved is significant. Still, one thing I have learned very quickly is that the more successful you are in increasing access to the voting process, the bigger the target you are for individuals and groups who want to be the judge of who gets to vote in this state. Such malicious groups are continually trying to turn back the clock on voting and create barriers that will limit access to voting. In Texas, there is always the threat that partisans will initiate legislative efforts to do away with the laws that they perceive don't benefit them or their party. Why do you think that the legislature did away with straight ticket voting option starting in the 2020 presidential election? Here's a little hint. The Democratic presidential candidate has won Texas' biggest county in 3 consecutive election cycles. Texas legislators have proposed more laws that restrict access to voting than laws that expand access to voting. That means there is always a chance that all the progress we have made to increase access to the voting process to all voters through our countywide polling place program could be erased. So we must remain vigilant going into the 2021 legislative session. In a short time, we have made great progress, and your support has played an integral role in making our first year a great success, and I thank you. We are not taking our success for granted, though. We may have some difficult challenges ahead of us. However, my commitment to increased access to the voting process is unwavering. With your continued support, we intend to protect and keep our countywide polling place program, because when we provide voters the freedom of choosing when to vote and where to vote, we ensure that government of the people, by the people, and for the people become a reality for all citizens of Harris County. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Questions? Thank you for your patience. That was long, but I had a lot I had to say. And I just had to get it out.
So, Nata speaking, everyone, Nata Kerber. Diane, thank you so much for your wonderful presentation and for keeping the community involved from day one. Having all of your public meetings and getting community feedback we really appreciate that. So with regard to the new machines, or I'll say new equipment, are you all looking at having a voter verifiable paper trail?
That's definitely something that we can look at. You know, with the RFP process, we develop a criteria list of everything that people have told us they want. We just have the whole wish list. And we put that out there and we see what the vendors come back with. Right now, the 2 certified vendors in Texas both have paper ballots. So that sounds like a pretty sure thing. But I can't say yet, not until we go through the process.
Thank you, Diane. I've been an election judge for 12 years, so I've been right at the center of all these changes that are going on. But I guess my concern is with the voter registration rolls and with regard to foreign interference. I mean, I think the election process itself and the machines are relatively secure from a cybersecurity point of view. But I think the vulnerability is at the voter rolls point. So is there any change in the way that you've protected those rolls from people coming in? Because as far as I know, they're relatively open.
Right, and of course that would be Ann Harris-Bennett's office, the voter registrar, and I haven't heard anything unusual going on there. Although in the 2016 election, I think almost every county admitted that there was some tampering with, or at least an attempt to tamper with the voter rolls. So it is something we need to keep in mind, definitely. But I don't know of any problems on the horizon with that so far. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I don't think I'm the only person who's ignorant on this, maybe I am, but when we are voting in November, will we be able to tell the party, although there's not straight line, of voting, but can we tell from which party that they are on?
Like a D or an R?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, that's a good question because straight ticket voting is really effective this November. That's where it's really going to hit hard. And the thing we're telling people right now to get in the habit of doing is print out that sample ballot from our website, fill it out, take it in there with you. You can take any kind of paper notes, but no phone. No phones. Good question. Yes, Ms. Kerner?
Hi. Well, there was a whole process that they hit you at the last minute with reporting election results on election night. How is the process going to work this time? I know it's going to be much, much improved because I know it's such a hard worker you are. So what can you tell us about the process?
Thank you. I had that question this morning on Houston Matters as well. And they said, well, so what do you have to say about that? And I said, I'm just going to say one thing. We had a difference of opinion with the Secretary of State. I'll leave it at that. That's what I'll say now. I'll leave it at that. But what we're doing differently going forward, we've held 2 successful elections this year, well, the December runoff and the January, and we're taking successful components of both of those and putting them to work for the primary election night reporting. One main thing we're doing is going from 1 drop-off location to 4 drop-off locations around the county. That will help judges travel time and getting to the drop-off location. Also, we're going to have more clerks staffed to check in the equipment. That receiving and certification process takes a while, so we're going to try to speed that up a little bit. Also, one thing we did in January that worked well that we're going to do this time is we're going to move our central count from downtown to our election technology center. And it has much more room for more of our election staff, for more tabulation stations, for the media, for poll watchers.
I think that's going to help a lot as well. It's also closer to the drop-off locations as well. So these are all things that we can do. Now, at the end of the day, you do know that any voter that is in line by 7 p.m. has the right to stay in line and cast that vote, and the location cannot be closed until the last voter votes. In 2008 primary, we had voters voting at 10 o'clock. I hope that's not the case this time. But there you go. So at the end of the day, when people ask, so what time are we going to see those results? It's just, it's impossible to determine. You've got 800 election judges to turn in their results on election night, all over Harris County. It's a human process, so human error is always prevalent. Every election is different, but I can promise you that early voting results will be out at 7 p.m. And just as soon as we receive the results from the judges, we will be putting them out to the public. Yes?
Well, just again, one more comment on the last two elections. The drop-off procedure has been pretty clumsy, and so I hope we have a different one.
Which one did you think was clumsy? The ETC?
Both of the last
Really?
two, yes. Because with the last one, of course, we had kind of a backup at the convention center with only one actual official able to let cars up onto the
Right.
ramp.
That was,
really slowed
that was the only time we tried that, because the Secretary of State said that we had to have these duplicating machines, which you can't just go on Amazon and buy, so we could not use those, and so we had to go to one central drop-off. Now, I was talking about the December one,
Right.
yeah,
And
the
that
December
one-
and January.
And that ended up with drop-offs at some pretty limited locations in terms of size and relatively long lines.
One thing
and
about
very slow.
One thing about the drop-off locations, and I know you know this, is that the period between, I'll say 9 and 10:30 is always going to be the busiest. I don't care how many drop-off locations you have, that is the prime time, that's the peak time when most of the judges try to drop it off. So they're in line checking in anyway. No matter where you go, you're going to have a little bit of a bottleneck during that time period. But we're going to do better, we promise.
I just want to thank you for the changes that you've implemented. It has made voting so much more convenient and just easier. I've worked at the polling locations, and I've noticed how people with disabilities, how there was, difficulties getting out of the vans, going in to vote, and just having that button there to where they could press it and it was accessible. It was very easy for them. And then to have a polling location at Texas Southern University, that's just amazing. So I just want to commend you on what you're doing. And if you get ranked choice voting implemented here in Texas, like our mayoral election, all of the runoffs, that's going to save us so much money. So thank you so much.
Thank you for pointing that out. And we do have a lady at the back of the room here who is giving out information on ranked choice voting. So come say hi to her. That is an excellent point. All of you are familiar with what happened in District B in the city council race. There is a part of Texas law that says in a runoff election, if anybody contests that, legally files a contest, it triggers a part of Texas law that says that race has to be taken off the ballot and has to stay off until a judge rules. That would have never happened if we had ranked choice voting. And that just really, it bothered me so much that those poor people in District B had to see that happen to them. But luckily, we're hoping a judge has ruled a May 2nd election for that. There was an appeal to that too, so we'll still see. But May 2nd is going to be a busy month. May is going to be a busy month because May 2nd is the District B race and May 26th is the primary runoff. That's going to be fun.
We have one last question over here.
Yeah, two more questions. One there and then here.
Okay.
Just real quick, you mentioned that there were attempts to impact the voter rolls. But tell me specifically about the actual machines. How secure are they? I mean, I know sometimes you'll see stuff where, oh, well, here's this kid that broke into it and they were able to do all sorts of stuff. So how secure are
the equipment we currently have.
Well, they're just not connected to the internet. That's the main thing. I mean, you can't connect. Could somebody go in and change it or something? No, they can't. Not with the e-poll books. There's so many double checks on that, and the election workers as well. I feel very good about that. And I know it's scary because you read about this stuff like every other day in the newspaper. Again, I think it's important to look at. I think the voter rolls are important to keep safe. I think our biggest problem in November are these misinformation campaigns. I truly do. I mean, anybody, a good hacker, could create a Harris Votes website, just like mine, put up inaccurate information. Very scary. So it's very important to really be careful about looking at what you see on social media. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I guess I'm still wanting to be more comfortable about the idea of the ranked choice voting. I think about, it seemed that they tried to do some facsimile of that in that Iowa mess. And I guess what I get concerned about is that you take enough time with the process and that it isn't implemented the first time in a super high stakes election. If there isn't, I mean, not that there's unimportant elections, but, you know, things can go wrong with the new car, so to speak.
Sure. Anything can happen with a new voting procedure. Iowa did not use this. I believe Nevada has said that they are going to use it in their caucuses, though. Right now, just to tell you, this isn't something new. It has been around a long time. New York City has it, the state of Maine, I think another state is going for it. Cities all over the country, but here's the main thing. Did you know that the Oscars use ranked choice voting? All of your sporting teams to do the rankings all use ranked choice voting. So it's been around a long time. Now, what you're talking about, I think, would involve a lot of voter education. We would need to be very careful to make sure that voters understood what they needed to do. And here's another thing. You would have to have that option on any new voting machines. So that might be a criteria that we put in there for the new machines. Here's the thing, it's got to pass the legislature. So we might not get it for a year or 2 or 3, but we know these voting machines should last at least 10 years. So we want to be looking to the future, 10 years ahead. What are the things that we will be using? And ranked choice voting, again, not only saves money, but it also gives a more representative democratic turnout. Because what happens when we have a runoff election? Do the same number of people come out? No. So really, the people who are chosen in that runoff election are chosen by a very small group that come back to vote in that runoff election. So again, it's always better if you have more people voting to choose that. And it's kind of hard to wrap your head around at first, but you just rank the voters on the ballot. First, second, third. And some go all the way down, you know, we have 10 candidates on some of our ballots and rank them all the way down, 1 through 10. But I would encourage you to ask her in the back there if you have further questions on ranked choice voting, and also to talk to your legislators about it as well. Yes, sir.
I just want to make a comment with regard to cybersecurity and the e-poll books. That's my field. I work in computers and cybersecurity, and I'm very comfortable that the present system is quite secure and has enough redundancy in terms of the results that there really is not going to be a way to change the results significantly in that election.
I would
That's
agree.
my opinion.
But thank you for that professional opinion. Thank you. Mr. Behrman, how are you?
I think that's it. Anybody else have a question before we wrap it up?
Thank you.
Let's give Diane a huge round of applause. Please. She is the best thing we did in 2018 I could not be more grateful than to have someone like her taking elections seriously. Please go vote, become a member. Thank you all. Facebook, see you here next month.